Hello. Good afternoon, good evening. We are here. I'm Terry Berry.
And I'm Michael Nelder, and we are
No ID. And we have some beautiful ladies with us today. The ladies of the Lafontaine family. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Lacey Lafontaine.
I'm Sky Lafontaine. And I'm Nita Whitaker Lafontaine. Here.
California.
Native. I'm a Louisiana girl.
Southern Bear. Yes.
Girl raised in the South.
Yes. So. A little bit about these three right here. Mama Nita has been in the music industry for a very, very long time. She's demoed records for legends like Whitney Houston. She has a gorgeous voice. Please go look it up because it's touching, as well as her daughter Lacey, who recently did Dreamgirls with Amber Riley. And then you have your own theater company.
Starting was coming out here and jumping in. I knew no one in the business. I knew very little about how to get in. Shall I hold it?
It's like we can hold it.
I like the mic. I'm sorry. Hi, darling. How are you? You're so lovely today. So I just jumped in and I found a competition and got in. So a generation ago, because you all are millennials, and I love that. A generation ago, you just jumped in and you hit the sidewalk and you pounded on doors, and that's kind of what I did. I found someone said, "Hey, come sing here, come sing there." That led to one thing, led to another thing, which led me to getting on Star Search and winning Star Search, which was, for you millennials, that was before American Idol and America's Got Talent. It was like the whole, anyway, just so you know, the OG. And so after that, I met David Foster. And David Foster just liked my voice and liked my sound and said, "Hey, let's work together." And the first thing he called me for was I Have Nothing, which they had just written. So they began where I did 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6 demos for Whitney and Faith Hill
7, 8,
and
9,
Celine
10.
and Toni Braxton and Josh Groban. I've been really lucky. And you know, when you're doing the work, you don't think about it. You're just doing the work because you want to do the work. So I didn't think, I'm singing this for Whitney. I'm singing this great song. Can I do it? Right? So that's how it began. And then in that process, I became a mom. I had these 2 beautiful girls that just blessed my life. And
I feel like I've just kind of always been acting. I know people usually say that, but I feel like I've just kind of always been doing it. So I studied it for years. I ended up going to high school for opera. Somehow I wound up in the opera department. I don't know how, but they do very big dramatic stories, so that kind of made sense because I'm a very big dramatic person usually. If I get hurt, it's the end of the world. It's the end of everyone's world. It's the end of my day. It's the end of your day. Hello.
Hi.
What am I talking about?
what was the question?
We've been going for so long. Yeah, so right before I booked Dreamgirls, I was doing another Dreamgirls in La Mirada here in California with the La Mirada, with this theater company down there. And I went to Tokyo and I was like, whoa, this is insane. And I was Dina's understudy. And I was like, great, I'm living the life. I just was working at Disneyland. I was working at Sprinkles before, thanks to Taylor. And so I was like, I'm really moving on up. Sponsors of this video. Yeah, where are the cupcakes? So I went to New York to audition for a lot of casting agents out there. And one of the casting agents was like, I think you'd be great for Dina on the West End. They're doing Dreamgirls in London. And I was like, that would never happen, but thanks for saying it. Sure. So I came in and I met with her. Then I had one audition. I came back to LA. Then I got a call like 4 days later. The director wanted me to fly back and audition for him. Then I didn't hear anything for like 3 months. I did the other Dreamgirls. While I was doing it, I got a call and they're like, the producers want you to come to London. Like, they're flying you out to London. I was like, wait a second.
Wow.
So I went to London. I auditioned for the producer. Didn't hear anything for like 3 months, 4 months. And within that time, I found out that Amber Riley had booked it. And I was like, yes, I need to go see it because I love her. Mercedes, she can sing. I'm going to go to London and see it. Wow. But I guess that I hadn't booked it because I didn't think they would hire more than one American. And then, like a few days before I left for Japan, a few days before we did it, May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Anyways, I found out that I had booked it, and I was like, what? What? And then I had like 3 months here before I moved to London. I was 22, and I did the show for 14 months.
Wow.
8 shows a week.
Come on.
For 14 months?
For me, it's more so like he worked so hard to get to where he was and to the level where he was. And it's not scary to me or daunting to me to know that he got to that level. For me, it's just like, well, he got this far, so now I need to go even farther. Or now I need to carry our legacy and our name, farther than before. And I think it's the same thing for being a woman. Women have worked so hard to break through that glass ceiling and, bridge the gap and fight to just be able to go to work and read and, vote. And so we're standing on their shoulders. We need to take it farther than that. And black people have come so far in, advancing in this country and creating names for ourselves and creating spaces for ourselves. So now we need to push that even farther into equality, which is not crazy to ask for. I'm just going to say that. I don't understand why everyone's so upset because people are fighting for equality. No one's trying to fight for anything else, but anyway.
I have felt that frustration. I was like, what, you see people working, and I don't believe in mediocrity. I don't accept it. I will not accept it for the way that I do my work. And sometimes I see mediocrity out there, and I'm like, what is that? I'm sorry. Come on, you got to bring the level up because you're dumbing us down. I need to come with your A game. I don't want a D game and let that be what's normal. So I have a very high standard for myself, and when I go to bat, I'm going to bat. I'm going in. If I'm going to sing, I'm going in. And I expect that from everyone around me, but everyone doesn't have that same level of stand that I want. So for me, I come in with my A game, and sometimes it doesn't always get me because I'm the wrong type, the wrong color, whatever. But my art is my art, and I will not be deterred, no matter what they put in front of me. Go, girls.
I feel like being a black woman is a whole thing, and then I also know that I definitely identify as being a multitude of different things, but I also know that in this country and in this industry, I'm looked at as a black woman. Pretty much everything I audition for is either ethnically ambiguous or black woman, African American. And for a long time, those parts were very limited. I think that now it is opening up, which I'm thankful for, but now it's it's trendy.
We were being persecuted in a way for being lighter because we could get more than somebody who was darker and who maybe had been working longer and realizing we're going to get where we want to go sooner.
Or the perception was that.
Or the perception was that, yeah, they're going to get what they want because they're lighter, because there's always that kind of thing, if you're lighter, that's what everybody wants.
Which is the case.
It's true.
In most situations.
A lot of times, anybody who's even a bit light, what are you mixed with? Instead of if you're not mixed with anything, they're
black.
You have to have something.
Hi.
Something.
How are you?
Right?
Yeah.
That's what keeps you interesting, is what you're mixed with. Or maybe it's just me, but sometimes we just kind of feel lost. It's what am I doing? Where am I going? I mean, right now I'm in the middle of a move and I am so confused. I don't know what's happening. I'm this is a new space, a new energy, a new home. I don't know what's going on. But there's just something about finding that feeling of home and safety, and you don't want to let that go once you have it.
It's expanding, which is a good thing, but sometimes you question the motives, especially in this political climate that we're in. It's but if our country won't really recognize us and recognize the struggles that we've been going through and try to mend those issues, then why are you trying to push us in the media? It's pushing almost a false narrative that everything is fine and we're in this post-racial society. And I feel as a society we kind of are. I feel we're much more accepting and people are a lot more open and have friends from all different backgrounds, but
On the coast, let's say.
on the coast. But when it comes to the top of our government and the 1%, that's still very white area. Male-dominated area. So it's hard to know that you are kind of sometimes you feel you're a pawn and you're being used to do these different agendas. And I think that's what's amazing about social media and about this time that we're living in, where it's really expanding. But I think it also places a greater responsibility on all of us to continue to tell truthful stories and to keep like pushing it forward. And I think that's the whole thing about all these great new movies coming out and all these programs and this important content, is that people are just telling stories that they want to see. And that's why they're being so well received. Like, that's why Black Panther is so well received. Because
Insecure.
it's insecure.
One more question to being, you know, a Black woman and being in the industry or just in the world. Do you think on our journeys of being a woman and being of color, do you think it's more important to just speak the narrative of being human? Or do you feel the need to be like, no, I'm a Black woman and I'm doing this and I'm a female and it's more powerful because of that?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
That's a great question.
I try to let them cook and simmer before.
that crock pot.
Okay.
Because as a high schooler, my mother would say, when you sign, we had this, you know, the paperwork for the year, and they would always have your race. And at that time, I had black or white. And I would write in human. And I would get called to the principal's office every time. My mother said, you write human, because that's what you are. So I've always believed in the power of humanity, because there's something common. We all bleed the same. We all go to look exactly. And, I could I could just go through it. But so there's a great humanity that connects all of us, because we are more alike than we are different. But my story is singular unto me, my experience. So that's why it's important to highlight what makes my uniqueness, because every life is a story. So I think that it's important that my perspective from what I've experienced as a Black woman in America, from the South to the West, is unique, as is yours, as is yours, as is theirs. So I think the humanity has got to be the thread in it, but I think the unique perspective of what your experience has been is what makes me know I have to tell my story from the perspective of a Black woman.
I don't have much to add to that. That's pretty much it. That was pretty much it. That she said.
Ziggy, I fuck up my whole world. Pause when she talk nothing like old girl.
You're just gonna see some shapes.
Wow. Well, I have so many. You know what? It's just respect. I have a lot of respect for what you all have shared with us through your process, and just the lessons and the wisdom that's even characterized by your unity. And I think that's really cool and kind of rare to see. And so I just want to say it's been awesome having you on our show and getting to hear about each of your experiences individually as well as collectively. And I want to tell you all thank you. And my name is Michael Nelder, and this is...
I'm Terry Berry, and we are closing out our interview with the Lafontaine. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back with some more fire and inspirational interviews.
Cool. We dark over here.
And I was like, that would never happen, but thanks for saying it. I was like, yes, I need to go see it because I love her. Mercedes, she can sing. I'm going to go to London and see it. Anyways, I found out that I had booked it, and I was like, what? So being like light-skinned and like a cool girl is just like this trendy thing, and everyone is looking for that. They need one of them on their show, you know, they need one of them in their movie, they need one of them. I just was working at Disneyland. I was working at Sprinkles before, thanks to Taylor. I'm sorry, we just saw...
And the fly has died.
Oh, made it in there.
That fly is getting...
I'm gonna let this fly in.